Well, basically, like a lot of voluntary organisations, we hold an awful lot of data, and like a lot of voluntary organisations, we're not as good at making the best use of it as we could be. So, what I hope to get out of today is that we'll find new ways of using the data we've already got, that we link together better with other partners who have data that we will need to know about and need to use, and that we have that we think about better ways of presenting that to the voluntary sector in Sandwell, to Sandwell Council, to other public sector partners, and basically we use it in our campaigning role on behalf of the voluntary sector to have a better idea about how the sector looks out there.
So we're here at SCVO today. I think one of our aims for today is to look at the wealth of data that SCVO are collecting or have collected, and try and understand what usage that could have internally and externally for the organisation. And I think putting a bit of context around open data into that would be really useful. So I'm thinking it could be quite a lot of really interesting discussions, but we need to try and piece those together to get some actions and some hands-on stuff, hopefully. Alright, so I'm looking now for youth groups and faith groups in this area. Great, okay, well now you've filtered it down that much. This is what you're left with to filter the rest of the data on. Oh, so how many are funded over this amount? How many are funded under that amount? So one thing we could output today, and I spoke David, my colleague in Bradford I work with, said, send me the data and I'll put it's called an exhibit together. Whilst we're talking, you can get something for us to look at. If we can output the data, we can put an exhibit together for you to look at internally. Right. And the exhibit is, I'll show you the one that Tim did for another organisation. It will give you another search mechanism onto that data set initially. So you'll be able to browse internally, and I suggest we get this onto the website when we're happy with it. The same data but in a different way. And that might, it's then, the way I always think about it then is that you're making a journey through the data rather than doing that send and request thing. SCVO publishing data, SCVO manipulating and using data, stroke open data, and SCVO collecting data in an innovative way, like the Twitter, what we're doing updates. So I think through doing those, through at least discussing those things, we've got data balls running off in different ways to carry through.
And how it's data not being a chore, isn't it? It's the stuff that you do or somehow semi-automatically becomes data because of the way you do them. That's
and so I'm just giggling. Once you start doing the Google refined queries, you're going to be the king for the day.
I'm genuinely really excited.
Shoulder high, doesn't stand the high street. Shoulder high. Good. Just executing those queries of API. Who doesn't these days?
Do you know, next time I see Nick Booth in the pub, his jaw's going to hit the table.